Hi, I'm George Pearson, and we'll be doing this graphic style Christmas card in Photoshop Elements. Now, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to share, and don't forget to subscribe as well. And if you really want to learn how to use Photoshop Elements, take a look at my complete training course, and there's a link for that right down there in the description. Okay, let's get to it. For this Photoshop Elements Christmas card, we'll be using just a few images down here. I have one here of just some snowflakes, and then here's a background picture, a bokeh background picture, and then this graphic piece of clip art here of kind of a tree shape. Okay, now to start off with, let's just get these out of the way, and I'll close this file down. There we go. Let's start off with a brand new file. So File, New, Blank File, and I'll have this at the default Photoshop Elements size, which is 6 wide by 4 tall by 300 pixels per inch. Choose OK. There it is. Let's also make sure that we have our preferences set up properly, and this is General tab, and right here it says Allow Floating Documents in Expert Mode. Make sure that is checked. Choose OK. And let's go ahead and expand this to full screen. There we are. Okay, so now go back to our photo bin, and we'll bring up this picture here. There's just some lights in the distance out of focus. Grab this background layer and drag it over here. That's why you wanted to have that preferences set up properly so you can do that drag and drop. Okay, now close this. This is now in our file. We can now stretch this up to fit. To bring up our control handles, use the Control T keyboard shortcut. There's your control handles right here. And then just grab one of your corners and drag it up until the image is just a little bit larger than your working file, and you can kind of position it about center. Doesn't need to be exactly center, but something around in here is fine. And hit the green check mark to set that in place. Okay, there's our background for our image. So now go back to the photo bin. Now I have all of these images available as downloads. You'll find the links to download these on my download page, and you'll find a link for that, of course, in the description. Okay, now that we have this, we need to bring in our Christmas tree graphic. That's this thing right here. Same trick, just bring this in and then grab the background and drag it over here to put it in place. Let's go ahead and close that out. Now it's too big, as you can see, so we'll need to size this down. So hold the Control T keyboard shortcut. Again, brings up your control handles. Grab a corner and pull towards the inside, and that makes the tree smaller. I want it so it's about this big, just a little bit. If I put it right at the very, very bottom, it's just a little bit shorter than the top of the page. About like that. Okay. We'll be using just the shape of this, not the actual graphics. I just want just the shape. Now to get just the shape, we're going to use this to create a layer mask. So let's go over to the magic wand. Click out here someplace. That just selects everything outside of the tree. And then we'll invert that selection. So select, inverse. There's our selection. Now just hit the layer mask button, which is right here. There's the layer mask of that tree shape. Let's now make a new layer up here, and then come down to this layer mask. If you click once, you'll see a light blue outline on that. Hold the Alt key down and then drag it straight up, and you've copied the layer mask up to this layer. We can now hide that layer. We're all set. Now on this layer, click on the left-hand side. You'll see a light blue outline. We can now put a gradient in here, right about where the tree is, and that's going to give us a nice Christmas tree effect. If I just fill this with white, you can be able to see the tree. Let's just set our colors back to white. There we go. Paint bucket. And there it is. That's the white page over here, and we're seeing the tree shape through that layer mask. Okay, let's now make a light blue to medium blue gradient. Start at the defaults right here. And then grab kind of a light blue in here someplace. The exact color doesn't matter, but it's kind of a nice light sky blue. Kind of right across where the B is, right across in there someplace, a nice light blue. Choose OK. Click on the background color right down here. And then come to the same place, and then just go up a little bit. So about here, just a little bit below where it says S over there, and then click over here on the right hand side, somewhere around in here is pretty good. So just a light blue and kind of a medium dark blue down there. Let's now go up to the gradient tool right here, and you should see your foreground to background gradient. If you have something else selected, just click on this little arrow and choose your upper left hand corner. That's foreground to background. Now come into the middle someplace around here in the tree, then just pull down to the bottom right hand corner. That'll give you a nice little gradient like that for this Christmas tree. Okay, so that's just about right. Let's now bring it over here so it's kind of close to the bottom right hand corner, and it's just coming down to the bottom right down here. I want it a little bit taller than this, so I'll do a Control-T keyboard shortcut again and grab a corner, and let's pull that up, and I want it just about that size. So it's kind of at the top here of that circle, and pull that back, and let's just kind of reposition. So I'll come into the corner and pull it down until this corner here meets the bottom, just about like that, and then have it just right along the edge of that circle. And that looks pretty good over here on the right hand side. Let's now make a copy of this one. So where it says layer 3, right click and choose duplicate layer, choose OK, and then grab that and pull it over to this side and put way off to the side like that. You can pull this one up a little bit if you want to, so it's just a little different height than the other one. That's okay. Maybe come back to this one, pull it down just a touch, just a little difference in height. And then make a copy again of this same layer here, layer 3. Right click, duplicate layer, choose OK. And let's make this one just a little bit smaller this time. Control-T keyboard shortcut. You pull it down so you can see your corners, and pull that down just a little bit, not too much, about like that. And let's put this one in, just a little bit off center. Right in here someplace is pretty good. So we're just overlapping those trees in the foreground there, and then choose OK. Alright, so that's our placement for our trees. Let's now put our blend modes on these. And the blend mode's right up here where it says normal. So click on your top tree layer, and let's change this to linear light. That's right down here. Come down to your next one, same thing, linear light. There it is. And the next one, same thing, linear light. And it makes them all just kind of transparent and see-through, and also brightens up the colors in behind as well. So there's our basic tree placement. Let's now put our highlight on this middle tree star. Now I want to find that position right here, right where that star is. It's easy to do. Go up to the window menu, come down where it says info, or you can also hit the F8 key. This brings up the info dialog box right here. And if I move this around, you'll see right down here it says pixels, X and Y position. Take a look at those two, and that's the position of the cursor. So put the cursor pointing right to the middle of that star, right there, and then write that number down. And for me that's 1048 for my X, and 441 for my Y. We'll need that in just a minute. Okay, you can now go ahead and close that. Let's now do a new layer here. Put it above this layer. New layer right there. There it is. Fill this new layer with black. So reset our colors to black, paint bucket, and then just fill that solid black. Now go up to the filter menu, come down to render and lens flare. And in here, we want to be using the 105 prime right there. I have my brightness at 100, which is fine. But we need to find where to put that hotspot right there. It's easy to do, luckily. Just Alt key and click on your thumbnail. And that brings up the precise flare center. All you have to do now is put in those numbers that we just copied down. And for me that was 1048 and 441. Yours will be a little bit different because your tree won't be in exactly the same place as my tree, because we're kind of positioning that one visually. So make sure you get those numbers. Choose OK. And that is now the exact same position as the top of that tree. Choose OK. There's our lens flare. We now need to blend this in with our layers underneath. Go up here to the blend modes again and come down to screen right there. And there it is. We have our lens flare right on the top of that tree. Also give us a few more circles in here, which is fine. Just adds to that whole circle effect. I like that it just is kind of reminiscent of Christmas bulbs on a tree, or Christmas bulbs, Christmas ornaments on a tree. So I like that. Just kind of a stylistic effect in there. Okay, so that's all looking really good. Let's now go back to our photos. Let's bring up this picture here. This is our snowflake picture. Same thing, to have this floating window, you need to make sure that you have your edit, preferences, general, and that checkbox right there checked. Allow floating documents. Make sure that one is checked. Then just grab this layer, drag it over here, and close that down. Now it's sized correctly. You can adjust the size if you want to. I think it's not too bad, but it's the wrong direction. This is a vertical direction. We want a horizontal direction. So do the Control-T keyboard shortcut again. Brings up your control handles, but also down here in the options, right here we have the angle. Just type 90 in there. That turns it on its side. And choose OK. Then you can move this around so it looks nice. I kind of like having a nice snowflake in this tree right down here. It looks kind of nice. Something about like that's pretty good. But of course this is black and not white, so go up to Filter, come down to Adjustments, and Invert. It's now white. Now we need to blend this in with our background picture. So once again, back to those blend modes. You can see this whole project here really is all about blend modes. Back into our blend mode up here, and we'll come down to the overlay blend mode right there. And that just blends those white into the other colors in behind, making a real nice background. And that takes care of the whole background for this image. Now we're all set to do our foreground lettering. Go over here to the Type tool. Down here where it has color, click on color. And then right here, select that one. This is the CMYK Cyan. So you want that one for your color. There it is. Now I have mine set at Tahoma Bold, 60 point, left justified. You can use any thick lettering you want. Thick works better than thin on this particular project because it has kind of a nice thick graphic look to it. But you can use any typeface you want. You don't have to use the one that I'm using on this. Like this would be okay right here. That's a Swiss 271 or 721 heavy. That's what I'm using. Tahoma. Arial would work out fine. Helvetica would work out okay. Or something fancier. You just want to have a thick typeface because you want to be able to see things through those letters. So go up here someplace. Doesn't really matter exactly where. And let's type this in, but type it in correctly, of course. And enter. Merry Christmas. Now I want to have this offset, so put your insertion point, your cursor right in front of the C, and then just tap that over. 4 taps, just about right, and choose OK. So there is the Merry Christmas, and bring it down towards the bottom of the picture like that. Now it's a little hard to see. We'll be fixing that in just a second. The first thing we'll be doing though is to again blend this in with everything else. So we're back to our blend modes again. So up to blend modes right here. This time you want to use darken, and it darkens the whole thing out. It's really hard to see, but you're actually seeing through the letters, as you can see in there. Now to make this show up, we'll be putting an outline and a drop shadow on it. So go up to Layer, come down to Layer Style, Style Settings, and we'll first do the outline. That's the stroke right here. Check on stroke. Make sure this is set to outside. Change the color here to white. Choose OK. And on the size right here, set the size to 8. There it is. And the opacity should be at 100. Okay, that's the outline. Let's now go up here where it says drop shadow. Check on drop shadow. Make sure your drop shadow is black. It should be already. Set the lighting angle over to about 130. That's upper left hand corner like that. Now you need to change the distance. That controls how far away the drop shadow is. We also need to bring our opacity up. Bring this clear up to 100 so you can really see your drop shadow. You can see there's the distance working on that. And then want to soften it down just a little bit. The size is the softness of the edge of your drop shadow. So if I go up large, you'll see how that gets softer in there. If I go down to nothing, it gets real sharp. I want just a little bit of softening. And I'll set this one at 9 for that softening. There we go. So a little bit of softening at 9. And then on the distance, I'm using 29 pixels right there. So a nice little drop shadow happening. And choose OK. And there we go. So there is our graphic style Merry Christmas card with all kinds of blending modes going on here. Everything is blending into everything else. You can see right through the lettering in there. Looks like just a little kind of almost like glass in front of everything else. And there it is. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward to do. Just has a few little quick tricks in here, but fun, quick, kind of graphic Merry Christmas card. Now again, to get these photos I used down here, actually they're all gone now, but there's a link for those in the description where you can download those pictures. And that's the background bouquet picture here. That's the Japanese out of focus style. That Christmas tree graphic, and then also those snowflakes up there. Okay, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. And of course, don't forget to share, and also don't forget to subscribe. And to really learn how to use Photoshop Elements, not just the few things I do here in these different trainings. I kind of do a lot of the stuff with the same basic tricks. If you want to learn the whole program, you can do this amazing stuff. Take a look at my complete training course, and again, there's a link for that right down there in the description. And if you have questions or you want to talk about this project, just use the comments there on YouTube. I'm normally watching my comments all day, practically every single day, most of the day. I'm on YouTube all the time. If I'm not on YouTube itself, it's in the background, so I'll easily see comments that come in. Okay, and I'll see you on the next video.